So today is part one of a 6-part series. All right, so for the next 6 Mondays, we're going to go through. Um, I'm so sorry. I'm not sick. I just got. I have like I don't know. My throat's dry. Okay. So for the next 6 weeks, next 6 Mondays, we're going to do a new business series. All right. For those of you that you're not a new business, you're still going to find benefit and you're going to find value in this series. All right, because there are so many things that you should do when you start a business that we don't know we should have done, or that we didn't know, or we maybe still don't know there are things we should be doing. So it is called New Business Series, but I invite all of you to stay and join, or to stay and benefit from what we're going to go over. All right, so today we're talking about, do you need an EIN? So for those of you in here who operate as a sole proprietor, and you, so usually this is like multi-level marketing, independent contractors. If you're receiving income under your social security number, and that's how you're reporting it on Schedule C of your tax return, you're a sole prop, right? It means you don't have an EIN or an FEIN. Okay, you're reporting everything under your social. This is also, maybe you already have a business, but you're starting another business, right? Maybe you're starting a secondary business, maybe you're doing a side hustle of some sort. So you need to know, do you need an EIN? All right. And honestly, you guys, there's only one specific type of business that doesn't need to have an EIN or an FEIN. For those of you that don't know, let me back up. EIN is an employment identification number. FEIN is a federal employment identification number. So this is like your social security number identifies you as a person. Your EIN or FEIN identifies your business as a business entity. All right, and so there's only one specific type of business that doesn't need an EIN, and that's a sole proprietorship doing business. You can do it as through an LLC, but you don't have any employees, because if you have employees, you'll need to run payroll and you'll need an EIN. And you aren't required to file an excise tax return, and you don't have state requirements for an LLC to have a separate EIN. So that's it. If you are doing any of those other things, or you have partners, or you want to elect S Corp status, we'll go over all the different reasons, but you're going to need an EIN. All right. Excuse me. So an EIN, you'll need it if you have more than one owner. All right, so if you're going into a business with another owner, okay, that's a partnership. And in order to form a partnership, you need an EIN. If you want to run payroll, we just mentioned that. If you have employees and you're going to run payroll, you need to have an EIN. If you have to pay excise tax in your state or in your industry, if you want to elect to be a corporation, corporations have to have a separate tax ID number. If you want to elect S Corp status, and we'll talk about that in a future week, about what electing S Corp status means and why it's beneficial and why it's not. Hold on, I'm recording.
Sorry.
Bye.
Bye.
And most banks will require you to have an EIN if you want to open a business bank account. All right, so if you're running your business and you have a separate business bank account, or you're running your business expenses through a separate account, which you should be, and we'll talk about that in, I think, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, then a lot of banks, in order to open a business bank account, you have to have a business EIN. All right. And then companies you work with or that you want to work with may require you to have an EIN in order to process payments. We see this a lot in the materials, like when you're buying materials to make something, a lot of times the suppliers don't want to issue it to your social. They want an actual business set up with a tax ID number to give that stuff to. All right. And then some states may require an LLC to use an EIN to report income on state tax returns. So even if you're doing business as a sole proprietor, and you don't have employees and you don't have to file excise to return, so you're like, I don't need an EIN. Some states are going to require that if you want to be treated as an LLC, that you have to have an EIN for your business. All right, and your best bet, you guys, is to ask your tax advisor. If you don't have one, I'm happy to answer it. I'm happy to get on a quick call with you or shoot me an email. Let me know what your situation is, what state you're in, everything. And I'm happy to help you out and let you know, do you need an EIN? Do you not? So if you've decided you need an EIN or you've decided you want a tax ID number for your business, how do you file it, right? You can do it online, you guys. It's free. It costs absolutely nothing to file for a tax ID number. All right, and you do it online. They do have office hours or like hours you can apply, which I think is kind of weird, but I think that means that somebody is on the other side of this processing them. Those hours are Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. All right, and I will put the link in the comments for you guys. That is the website to go to file for your EIN number. Okay, and then a few things I just want to chat about as you're deciding that you need an EIN or you're like, yes, I just started a new business. I need a tax ID number. This is how I'm going to do it. So before you file for an EIN, you need to check your state's Secretary of State system to ensure that your business name is available. You guys, we've had so many people that file for an EIN, they have their business name picked out, and then they go to register with their Secretary of State, and that business name is already taken. So that creates a mess because now you have to either file a name change, or you have to file for a new EIN and close. It's a mess. So check your state's SOS, your Secretary of State system, to make sure that your business name that you want to go with is available. And when you put it in there, make sure you include any LLC, PC, LLP in the name. For example, if I wanted to start a business, Brianna Beers LLC, that's how I would type it in to my Secretary of State to make sure it's available. If it wasn't, I might see if Brianna R. Beers LLC is available. Or maybe like my husband is Travis Beers Realty LLC. So make sure you have it exactly the way you want it to appear on your tax return, and check your Secretary of State to see if it's available. If it is available, great. Then you can go and register for your EIN. All right, and then before you register for your tax ID number, you guys, you have to decide if you're going to want to file as a corporation or not. That's one of the very first questions they ask is, are you requesting to file as a corporation? This is a conversation. You guys don't just arbitrarily decide yes or no. You want to talk with a trusted advisor before you make this decision. If you have partners you're working with, you want to talk with your partners because every business situation is different in how they decide this, how they make this decision. All right. So if you decide, yes, we want to be a corporation, at that point, okay, it defaults to a C Corp. Okay. If you decide you don't want to be a corporation, then if there's just one member, you're going to default to a sole member LLC or a sole member business. And if there's two or more of you in the business, you're going to default to a partnership. Okay. So these are all different defaults that you're going to, that your tax entity is recognized as without taking any further steps. I mentioned earlier, and I'll mention again, we talk about an S corporation. That's an election. It's a tax entity or tax recognition election purely. That's all it is. And that's an additional step, additional paperwork that you file with the IRS to make that S Corp election. All right. So I knew today was going to be really short. I have a lot of other stuff planned for you guys this week, but I had a lot of people. I've been getting so many questions. Do I need a tax ID number? How do I, all the things we just covered that I wanted to start at the beginning and make this piece available to you. Most of you guys in here, I understand, already have your businesses. You already have them set up. But if you are a sole member or a LLC or you're working under your Social Security number, then this should have been beneficial for you. If you're thinking about starting a second business, this should be beneficial to you. So next week we are going to discuss the differences of LLC versus S Corp versus C Corp, all the differences, and whether or not, in this, even if you're already set up as a business, you guys, this is something you can change if you recognize that it's different, that maybe you're one entity type and you should be something else. So we'll discuss those differences next week. And then this week, you guys, we have a few different things going on. So on Friday, we're going to do an update and Q&A session. So this is really, we're still really focused on the COVID-19, the SBA loans, the EIDLs, the PPP loans, unemployment, all those things that are going on specifically right now. That's really what we're trying to gear this Q&A toward and the updates. So on Friday, I'll come in, I'll give you any updates we've shared throughout the week. We'll talk about that, and then we'll do a Q&A session. So if you have questions, guys, post them in the group. So I am armed with some questions before we go, or otherwise just bring them to Friday. And we'll do that every Friday. Again, if updates happen, we'll post in the group still, but an actual live will be Friday. And then on Wednesday, you guys, we're going to start a new session, a new weekly training session where we're going to dive a little bit more into the non-tax and money things that still affect our business. So you're going to see a post later today because I need your guys' help deciding what you guys, what areas are most urgent for me to help you with. All right. So when I'm talking about, maybe you have a hard time with sales, with selling. All right. So maybe we want to talk about that, get some tips on that. Maybe it's managing employees. Maybe it's collecting, collections, you have a hard time collecting money from your clients, whatever it is, whatever those pain points are, we're going to figure out what those are. And on Wednesday, that's where we're going to start focusing on, is some of the more, it's not, well, other than collections, that was a bad example, but the sales and the management and the habits and the time management, those things that aren't exactly money, tax, or finance related, but you guys, I firmly believe they are important foundations of running your business. And whether it's habits and functions of your business or habits and functions of yourself as an individual, when you're self-employed and you're a business owner, the two are intertwined, right? The way we act, the way we treat ourselves, the way we train ourselves to handle things is so intertwined with how we run our business that it's imperative that we take care of these habits and these personal things in order to make sure they overflow into how we run our business, if that makes sense. So anyway, later today you'll see a post so I can start getting some of your guys' feedback, some of your thoughts on what you guys want to talk about first this upcoming Wednesday. All right, so be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, you guys keep posting your questions that you want to talk about. Again, on Friday, topics you want to talk about on our new Wednesday training series, and then these Mondays will the next 5 Mondays after today will all be in this series of the new business series. All right. And then every day you'll still see updates on the page with anything that we're hearing about COVID-19 and the SBA loans and whatnot. All right, you guys, have a great Monday. Have a great week. I will check in with you guys daily, and hopefully I'll see you guys all here Wednesday. All right, have a good one.